Today we celebrate Columbus Day. Columbus Day basically on the calendar is tomorrow, October the 14th.
It's technically yesterday, celebrated tomorrow.
Anyway, on October 11th, 1993, Saint Germain gave a dictation in which he talks about celebrating his discovery of America. He starts out by saying, "Heart friends of the ages, I salute you on this day of the celebration of the anniversary of the discovery of this continent. Now then, beloved, let us consider your discovery of a new continent. It is the continent of the mind of God. It is new levels of awareness. It is the path you have chosen to break the mold of the finite condition while you are in it, and to enter into the infinite condition here and now in the body, which is yours today. This is my offering to you. I say, let us do it. I show you now the records of Akasha. I show you the continent of Atlantis in its earlier golden age. I show you then the records of adepts walking the streets. Do you see them? In your mind's eye, in the vague memory of the past. Notice, you were there, I was there. The adepts walking the streets, teaching in the universities, setting an example as sons and daughters of the solitude. It's often inspiring to let your imagination tune back into those times. Oh, I remember Rai Ernan. You remember that story? Here was a son of the solitude. He was the head of a kingdom. He did not need, nor did he have an army to protect the country, because he could take care of that. He actually provided the meals for all of his people. They didn't even have to go out and work for it. He was a master. Do you remember? And I often think of this. Here was this neighboring kingdom, and the king decided he was just going to take over the kingdom that Rai Ernan was the head of. And so he came with his 2,000 soldiers marching into the country. And he saw this old man on the road, dressed shabbily, a hat, so on. And the king said to him, "Take me to your king, for I have come to take over your kingdom." Rai Ernan talked to him a bit, and then looked up and tuned in to the spirit, and then took his hand and pointed over all the 2,000 soldiers, and they all dropped dead And then he had them get up, even though they were dead, and clank their clothing clanged as they went down to the river, walked in the river and floated down. And then he very quietly said to his assistant, arrest this man and put him in prison. I often think in terms that all of us, we've been around long enough. If we could just get out of our inhibitions and see ourselves as a son or daughter of the solitude. You can go to Life and Teachings of the Masters of the Far East. And the writer goes out with one of the women masters. They were walking to a certain place. And out from a small hovel that a family lived in came a little girl. She came running up to the master and she said, we need your help. We need your help. She said, my brother is dying. She said, bring him. So she brought that sick child. The master held the child in her arms. And the child became whole. And then they went into the hovel. It was small, dirty. And she talked with them. She brought them outside. And then she changed the hovel into a whole new small home for them. Haven't you ever thought about the fact that you yourself would love to be able to do that? We learn to move toward this by blessing, by lifting, by doing what he is going to be suggesting to us. But we must begin to think ourselves in that kind of an atmosphere where we ourselves would begin to be able to do that. It's only our own limitations that keeps us there. He said, yes, beloved, all those records are there. Even the records of yourselves, having so done and so accomplished, having come so far upon the path of individual self-mastery. We have been there, but it's hard to remember because we find ourselves in this prison of small thinking. He said, I could show you at the Grand Teton in my chambers there, and in the cave of symbols, what would appear to you as motion pictures of those days where you should see yourselves as you were. And more than this, beloved, where you could see yourselves actually in the higher levels of being, and then note your manifestation of the time, and then note your manifestation this day. It could almost be said, but not quite, that the best part of you is above you. Your higher body. But because you have drawn a certain level of your Christ self and your God consciousness into this mind and body and heart and soul, truly a goodly portion of your best and highest self is here tonight. Therefore, I address all of you. Now, would he mean everybody who was at the meeting? Or would he mean my whole self, not just my limited one that's here now, but what I really am in my higher soul body. He said, I would that by your presence in the earth and by your determination from this day forward to the hour of transition or ascension, you would make it your business to present yourself in the highest capacity possible of the manifestation of your Christ self. This very presence in the earth of thousands upon thousands of you will lighten the planetary weight. It shall also thin the veil so that some, especially those who follow behind you in the certain dietary practices, meditations, and giving mantras, and so forth, these ones, beloved, shall have the veil parted, even as we have parted the veil so that you could see the messenger at inner levels. You know, we keep talking about hoping or calling forth the golden age of Aquarius. But what do you mean when you say the golden age of Aquarius? What do you see yourself as in the golden age of Aquarius? What's the situation around you as you walk down the streets of the golden age of Aquarius? What can you do that you aren't doing now in the golden age of Aquarius? This is very, very important because we get so tied up in this revolution of light versus darkness that we're going through right now that we fail to produce the golden age there. And if thousands of us could begin to visualize the golden age of Aquarius, he says everything will be lighter. This is how we get there. He said, we will now part the veil so that many in the earth who are moving toward the Aquarian age consciousness might see your auras, see your chakras, and see your light. Some of them already do, beloved. Do you see auras around people? I'm sure you are conscious of them, even though you're not aware of it. He said, I don't mind telling you that for some of you, I would prefer that they did not see your auras, for sometimes you carry those records of recent events that surely are not in keeping with your personal honor flame. As we think about this, think about ourselves and the aura that we have, that we actually project to the world. We need to begin to be aware. He said, it is time to remember Jesus' words, that the things that are hidden shall be revealed, and those things shall be shouted from the housetops. This was in the scripture of the morning, if you remember. Your own Mark liked to compare this to the coming of television and the antenna on the housetops everywhere, and the shouting from those antennas of those things which were taking place all throughout the earth. Now, it is not only antenna on the housetops, but satellites circling the earth in great numbers. This communication is at an all-time high, yet has not reached the levels that it was in the golden age of Atlantis. The communication of who you are and what you are is known at the soul level. Your soul knows clearly and precisely what is the vibration, what is the pattern of every soul of the many people whom you meet, whether within or without the community. Isn't it true that sometimes you meet somebody and you are instant friends and you just can open up? And there are other times when you meet people with a big smile on their face, but you keep your distance. You will not allow yourself to open up to them. Why? It's because what you're picking up from the aura, the vibration. He said, you also at the soul level, take a reading of me as I stand here this night. You take a reading of the messenger. And you are here more because of what you know at inner levels and in the soul level of being than what you know with your reasoning mind. This reasoning mind is subject to error, but the soul always knows. This is very practical. It's moving into conscious awareness of what's going on around you. It's being able to read the vibration of people's aura or the vibration that you feel sometimes when you say, I wonder why I almost feel guilty, but I haven't done anything. Day by day, we're working with this. He said, thus it is well to remember that the soul is seated in the seventh ray chakra of the violet flame, and to keep the soul bathed in the violet flame to strengthen that soul for the rise from that chakra to the heart chakra, preparing for union with the Holy Christ self. Now then, beloved, another year is turning, and the decade moves on. And I come then to tell you that in addition to all other services you render, the greatest service you can render on earth is to be among those who presage the coming age of enlightenment. Presage. What does he mean, presage? It's what we were talking about just a moment ago. You have that inner feeling, that inner insight of what the golden age is going to be like. You hold the image of that golden age. You see yourself in that golden age. You see yourself working with people, doing what you are here to do in the golden age. The most important thing for us in this time is to begin to be to presage the coming of enlightenment, when thousands and millions of people will have this inner sight. Inner sight. This is what we were working with in the prayer. Did you see Saint Germain? If you didn't see Saint Germain, you need to be working with a developing inner sight. When you close your eyes and you imagine what you're going to do in your vacation, you see yourself at the seashore, or you see yourself on the mountain, or you see yourself here, and you start building something. And then when you go there, suddenly it opens up because you presaged it, you saw it ahead of time. You were prophetic at that point. He said, you must develop not only the inner sight, but also the auric force field that will be a great magnet to those who truly desire and have the singular aspiration to ascend to the throne of God in this embodiment. So when you pray, what do you see? When you ask, oh Father, or Father, Mother, God, do you see the Father, Mother, God? Or do you just throw it out into the atmosphere someplace? Very important. You must develop that inner sight where when you meet people, you already know the moment you meet them. I remember when I first started traveling, we were doing one of the techniques that illustrates. We would illustrate how you know when you meet people. And so we went out, we would get up to demonstrate. Here you have a circle of people, say 12, 15, 20 people. You've never met them before. And we would shake their hand and we would just share with them what we saw. It was rather revealing. People were shocked. But that's what you pick up all the time. We need to bring it into awareness so that when we feel something with somebody, we understand what it is we're feeling. It's not our feeling, it's his feelings or her feelings. We need to begin to be aware, have this inner sense of awareness. He said, therefore, I come from the retreat of my mentor and yours, the great divine director. This retreat is in the Himalayas, and I often retreat there and go into meditation and even into nirvana for periods of time. So, beloved, I invite you in the name of the great divine director to come to his retreat this night. For we would tutor you at inner levels and bring to you your remembrance those incarnations that you have lived in the past when you learned the practices of the mastery of the body, the mastery of diet, the mastery of the chakras, the mastery of the sacred fire of the Divine Mother raised upon the spinal altar. This you can do before you go to bed at night. You need to ask to go to the great divine director's retreat. And then ask that they help you bring it back in the conscious awareness so that you can use it. He said, to pursue adeptship is wise. For as it has been spoken so many times, there come times and in events and cycles and years in life that are written in the future that shall be challenging times for you as you meet the more difficult levels of your personal karma and deal with the planetary karma itself. You know, if we could possibly make that connection, seeing yourself as an adept and then walking into these initiations that you pass. I remember my daughter called me one time. She was in college. And she said, Dad, I got to talk to you. I said, what's up, honey? She said, I'm taking a test today and I know I'm going to flunk it. I know I'm going to flunk it. And I said, honey, have you ever flunked a test in school? She said, no, I didn't. I said, then why would you think you could flunk this one? I said, take a deep breath. She did. I said, now ask the angel next to you to walk in there with you. And she did. I said, call me when you're done with the test. So we went in and took the test. And after a while, I got a call, very exciting call. She said, I made it. Yes. If we can learn to be that master that we are, if we can begin to get away from all the limitation, we can lift this planet and its people. It is wise, he says, then that in the full years you gather to yourself such momentum, storing within the cells of being, within your four lower bodies, but especially within your chakras and the aura of your Christhood, much light, much wisdom, much experience, much seeking after Chilaship, much sharpening of the mind, that you might be a tool as an instrument of the great hierarchs, adepts, you know, and some whose names you have never heard. And yet they frequent this place as often as, sometimes more often than the masters whose names you are familiar with. Understand, beloved, it is the principle of saving for a rainy day, of sowing and harvesting for a long winter, and recognizing that until you are home free, you must be prepared to meet any and all challenges of the body, the mind, the soul, the spirit, the community, and the planet on which you live. Happy are ye when ye understand that these cycles do come. And when you pass through them victoriously without so much as a scar of the battle, you will know that you are making headway, that you are triumphing over mortal conditions, and that you are preparing for a mighty service. So we have heard the messengers' recognition of the sponsors that have gone before. Oh yeah, Saint Germain, Mother Mary, El Moria, Lanello, Mother. It just keeps going. Realize that in each of these sponsors, so named, there is the prototype of what you can be. You must not look around to Godfrey or Lanello, to your present messenger or the ascended masters as unique, special, exceptional individuals. You must know, beloved, that all who have been in embodiment in the service of the Great White Brotherhood have borne the burden of their karma, have been bowed down with that karma, have struggled with it, have wrestled with it, have been relentless, have determined, have been absolutely convinced that they would triumph, and they have gone on and on and on. But beloved ones, all of us, when in embodiment, had our weak moments. The moments when we could almost go into despair and utter despondency. And we too knew friends. And we too recognized the dawn after a long night of prayer and the sun beaming through. And we realized that there was yet hope. And we would go on as we were being challenged and mocked and crucified and tried and burned at the stake, etc. You have been through these experiences also. Do not weary in them. Do not consider that somehow God now owes you a lifetime in the lap of luxury. I tell you, the hound of heaven will continue to pursue you, and you must not call, time out. You must not say, I deserve this and this and this in this life because I have sacrificed enough for you, Saint Germain, or Maitreya, or Sana Kamara. Let those who are your mentors of the Spirit determine what is best for you. As has been said of Gautama, we are doctors. We know what is the best medicine for the spirit and the body and the mind to bring that soul to a point where there is truly the opportunity for union with God. We see from a different level from which you see. Realize that, beloved. You surely know that you have limited vision, and that limited vision does not enable you to assess righteous judgment. Righteous judgment can only come when you are in the mind of God. Therefore I say, judge not, but welcome every point of adversity. Be profoundly grateful for gifts as they come and intercession, but never take for granted either, for both must be part of the path. I must say that we are proud of our Chilas, many of you. And do not think that we do not see, that we do not watch, that we do not regard each and every one of you. We have assigned our angels to you, angels of Chilaship. Of course, you may banish them, but our recording angels and your specific recording angel are under orders from the Brotherhood to not stray from you, for the records must be complete. You are considered Chilas on the path, and therefore consider each day as a day that you write in the book of life, and that your recording angel does write in the book of life. All things count, and God always sees. When you are able to keep on keeping on without a pat on the back from those in embodiment, I tell you, you receive, you receive thrice from the spiritual realms of those angels who uphold you and who give you that stimulus to go forward again and again and again. Have you not noticed, beloved ones, as you count your victories in this life, and as the years pass and you become wiser, that you are more in the strength of God, more in the trust of God, more in the faith of God, that you are absolutely not moved. And when you see those initiations coming, you see them for what they are, and you meet the challenge, and you apply to it everything you know, everything you have been taught, all that has come to you through the teachings. As I meditate on this week, I reflected back the difference between now and what it was 10 years ago, say. Now, when things get tough, I just pause and ask for help. When the feelings are such that I don't understand, I just ask the angel that's right with me, what is this I'm feeling? Is it me? I hear, no. Is it coming from outside? Yes. Can you show me where it's coming from? You know, it makes all the difference in the world when you can stop and ask and find that answer. Nothing is beyond help. And when you understand, it's amazing what you can go through with. He says, so is it not so, beloved, that you have become accustomed to that support? And you now have faith in God that he will never, never, never let you down as long as you do not let him down, or your neighbor, as long as you do not discontinue loving your neighbor as you love your own real self. Now then, beloved, to accelerate your inner spiritual God mastery, I come. For I am convinced beyond all shadow of a doubt that the ingredients whereby the world shall be magnetized to the ascended masters through you, and it will be through you or it will be not at all, beloved. For the world cannot see us, but they surely do see you. I am convinced, therefore, that the necessary ingredient whereby you are able to convert many to the path of light is the ingredient of love, of compassion, of kindness, of concern and care and consideration for each part of life. Love is what people are seeking. Secondly, then, it is a certain level of self-mastery whereby you have self-respect. And those who see you also respect you because they recognize that you have your self-esteem. You have your self-worth. And in that self-worth, you can reach out with the magnanimous heart of your Lord Jesus, Maitreya, Pamasambhava, of your Lord Manjushri, Gautama, Sanakamaru. You reach out in strength and confidence and love with the magnanimity of heart, with the oneness of love and givingness, replacing naivete and supercilious sympathetic animal magnetism, casting this aside and developing a profound and deep love for everyone. For above all, you recognize that point of the seed of the Buddha, that point of the Atman, that presence emerging. And you speak to the soul, and you never mind what the outer self has expressed. This is another aspect of self-mastery, beloved. Human beings change every day. The outer self has moods, its ups and downs, sometimes happy, sometimes sad, sometimes in this and that direction. And another day, and another day, and that same individual will be positive and ready to join the team and go to work and accomplish such and such because they now have the vision. It is good then to remember the words, "What is that to thee? Follow thou me." It is good to ignore almost, without revealing that you are ignoring almost, the outer self that comes and goes, to count on the inner Christ, and to continue to reaffirm and reaffirm and reaffirm that Christ, despite all other expressions to the contrary on the part of this or that individual. You will see the endurance of continuously reinforcing the right, the good, the true, the beautiful, and letting pass by those barbs which long ago would have caused you to feel challenged, making you feel that you must defend your good name, having a good fight with someone to show who has the upper hand, and all of those ins and outs. Blessed ones, gossip travels here, gossip travels there. People talk about this one and that one, and who is doing what. But it all boils down to this. When you are with an individual who has interest in the path, who knows the teachings, in other words, one who may be a disciple or a quasi-disciple on the path, simply continually enforce the good in that one. Let pass all negatives. Do not even give them the time of day. Do not address them except to confront, uplift, and show the individual that there is a bright sun on the horizon and a rainbow after the rain. Continue in being positive with people, beloved. And you will find that by and by, you will have no enemies, for you will simply not have acknowledged that they are enemies. And you are continuously affirming the rightness, the truth, and the reality that God has placed in each and every one. This is magnanimity of heart. To be magnanimous, to me, is to set aside and ignore and put away any seeming faults of another. Be magnanimous. Supply support to love and give recognition. Give recognition to the I am presence and Holy Christ self of that one. Give recognition to the good and the accomplishments of the soul. Breathe a prayer for the balancing of that one's threefold flame and your own. And above all, do not waste your time in repeating stories about this or that. What is that to thee? Follow thou me. I am Saint Germain. These are the words of Jesus Christ. They are the words of my Son. They are your words. Follow them and continue following. Bless life. Do not mentally criticize others. Let me say that again. Do not mentally criticize others. It is the great disease of planet Earth. In fact, it is why many individuals have re-embodied here so many times. It is that criticism that continues and continues in malicious gossip. I tell you, have no part with it. And remember, it is the law of the Darjeeling retreat of your El Moria. If you cannot get past the abuses of power manifesting as criticism, condemnation, and judgment, I say you may be stuck on this planet a long, long time. And as has been said to you before, Christ's discrimination and discernment have nothing to do with criticism, condemnation, and judgment. For that discernment that you have in your Christ consciousness is given to you to bless others, as well as to be warned that there may be a barb in the cloak of the garment. There may be a sharp weapon. And therefore, when dealing with such individuals, you have the inner knowledge of your soul and your Christ self. This does not mean that you ought not to be compassionate, but it does mean that you must be on guard. For there are harmful individuals in the world, but you are there to amplify the good and to call for the binding of forces of malice that may have invaded that one's aura centuries ago. And that individual has not the slightest idea how to extricate itself from that force. And you come along and you pour some love upon that person. And when you retreat to your altar, then you give the fierce calls for the binding of that dweller and that substance of that person. You stay with it a while. You bless that one. You call for the deactivation of any harmfulness and evil, and you move on. Always, always leaving a blessing in your wake, that one may one day pick up that which you have left in his aura. And it might be for him the turning of the way toward the Son of God. Thus, be presence. Be the presence of my Son, Jesus. Be the presence of myself also. I have demonstrated to you in the many, many embodiments what is the sign and the mark of the Aquarian age man and woman. There is science profound. There is religion that is deep. There is oneness with God. There is a soul freedom that is never rebellion, but a freedom that builds rings upon rings upon rings of the causal body of Aquarius around you until you draw yourself. You draw to yourself the most amazing talents and memories of past embodiments, and those that adepts, such as the great divine director, might bring to you even in this life, should you spend considerable time in his retreat, as he has now opened his retreat to those who are a part of this movement and to light bearers in the earth who measure up to that invitation. I personally am profoundly gratified that he has done so. For it is the great divine director who trimmed the sails of Moria, who made me what I am and stood by me. It is the great divine director who has been a part of the training of the Chohans and of the world teachers. This great being of light surely carries such a powerful aura that includes the entire planet that you would do well to realize that the law of your being, the law of your own perfection and perfectionment, and the law of your divine plan, your divine design for this life, is held in his heart, much as the Blessed Mother does hold in her heart the immaculate concept for you. The great divine director does hold that design. Do not think because you are of a certain age and a certain decade, your life cannot begin all over again. I bring to you then a certain understanding in your four lower bodies. There is life and there is death. Death in you is the records of death and also the substances that you have partaken of, chemicals, foods that are not endowed with life, heavy meats, heavy spices, acidic foods, etc. Those things, beloved, eaten year after year after year, lodge in the organs of the body and establish there a negative spiral, which is a death spiral. Thus, when you come to the right diet, as we have prescribed it through the messenger, you come to the place, beloved, where when you eat it and do so religiously, for it is indeed a part of your spiritual walk with me, you will come to the realization that substances pass from you that are not good for the body because you eat the food, the good food that is able to process them out. So you must understand that what else passes out from you during your early days and continuing years into this diet, this death itself, records of death, substances of death that you have imbibed. I am certain that you know what these substances are. They are rampant in the earth, and they fall upon children and those of young age. They fall upon children in the womb because their mothers partake of them. And therefore, depending on your background, depending on your karma, there is a substance of death in you. This is why you are called mortal. This is why these bodies are called mortal. When you then think that you have a death projection, do not think that you have a death projection. What you have, beloved, is a sensitivity in your own consciousness that death is passing away, that immortal life is entering your body. Thus, you feel your immortality, and your immortality in the balancing of your body is therefore dispensing with these death matrices. You have heard that members of the Brotherhood, including myself, have assisted individuals in prolonging their life. You have heard that the Lords of Karma have granted a dispensation to many of our co-servers in the earth. We desire to do this day in your behalf. I am the one who bears the elixir of youth and was known as such as the Count Saint Germain. So, beloved, because of your service and your determination, I would like to see you extend your lifetime. And I ask you to make the call for this and to do all those things that you know are necessary to keep your body on the path of the adepts. Consider then that you have had plenty of embodiments to surfeit yourselves in your appetites for all kinds of foods and sensual indulgences. Consider, if you determine to master these and set aside these momentums, that you cannot only prolong your life, but prolong the quality of your life, the quality of your mind, the quality of your will, the quality of your love, the quality of your Christ consciousness. I say, keep on keeping on, for the angels watch over you. The adepts come nigh. The recording angels report to the keeper of the scrolls, and I watch and wait also. We are ready to transfer to you blessings and initiations and an impetus for greater life within your temple. I ask you then to study all that you know about what the adepts have taught, to do some form of yoga, some form of meditation, and to do so with the idea of entering into new octaves of consciousness. Yes, the continent of the mind is open to you, but you will not enter in save you have the qualifications. Neptune has come. He has given to you the key whereby you can unlock the prison door of your carnal mind. I am now intensifying my aura through and around you, for I desire you to know the freedom, beloved, of all attachments, of all addictions. Let me back up here. The freedom, beloved, of, and there's a little asterisk here, And the asterisk says from. So let's use both of them. For I desire you to know the freedom, beloved, of or from all attachments, of all addictions to substances that you take in or to practice, or to practices which deplete the sacred fire within your temple. I'm giving you an experience in your aura this day, which all who hear or read this dictation shall have also, for my electronic presence will come to you. And that experience, beloved, is to know the freedom of the addictions of this octave, to be able to walk away from them, and to be able to say, Saint Germain has called me this day. He has called me to be an adept. And if he has called me to be an adept, he must believe in me that I can, in truth, become an adept. And therefore, because Saint Germain believes in me, then I will become that adept. For I will not let down my master, who has supported me for these many tens of thousands of years, but I will show the world that I am a true student of Saint Germain and a Chela of the seventh age. I will show that to the world, and I will say, enough, be gone. All these distractions and indulgences, be gone. For I value life and immortal life, and I value then being able to balance more of my karma. I value it because I know it is possible. And I know because we have the messenger and because we have the mystery school, I shall not lose my ascension while carrying on beyond the 51% of my karma when the going gets tough and the challenges get rough. And I am there overloaded with karma, for I know that I have recourse in those in embodiment and those in ascended octaves. Blessed ones, I say, take a right turn. Take a right turn this day, for you are nearer than you think to that self-mastery. I am pleased with what you have accomplished thus far. Let those who know they have not accomplished what they could have accomplished know that I will not hold that against you. For I am making this day and the day that dawns at midnight on this time of October, I mark that day as a new cycle for you, a new cycle to discover that continent. That is the continent of your own causal body. Would you not enjoy, beloved, in meditation, to be able to come and go out of your causal body and report back to those who know you are doing your spiritual exercises what you have experienced in those realms of light? Would you not like to be able to record it, beloved ones? Think then how I raised up Godfrey. Think how I raised up Mark. Think how I called so many and how they have achieved to those high levels. They began at birth, not with all the things that they had in the hour of their ascension. Thus, all things are truly possible to you. Do not be stubborn, beloved ones. Stubbornness is surely something that deprives you of the right self-knowledge. You can be so stubborn in defense of that personhood that you regard to be yours in private that you can miss entirely that divine self of yours that is just beyond the stubborn self, ready to galvanize you into the fire of your mission in this life, this age. I am Saint Germain. I have come to you because I love you, because I desire to do many things in the earth, and because I need you in this hour as never before to become that fiery presence of Aquarius, to set the house in order of the community and church, and especially as pertains to the financial matters that the mother and her staff have brought to you. Let it be said, beloved, that you in the earth are the pillars of Aquarius already. Now strengthen those pillars, for we would build for a new age. We would count you as part of that new age and its vanguard. Be up and doing. You are mine, beloved, and I am with you. Just call for my presence over you, and you shall know surcease from those burdens that you have carried too long. Let me have them, beloved. I would take them and give you in exchange a new vision and a glory of the dawn that awaits you. I salute you in the name of Portia and of all of the seventh ray and the entire spirit of the Great White Brotherhood who love you. Oh, Saint Germain, feel you so close. You count on us. For each one of us who hears this message this day are ready to be released from the prison of our mortal life and are ready to take on this new age, the golden age of Aquarius. So expand our consciousness this day. Help us to truly get the vision and put our feet to the path of mastery. For we do ask it in your holy name, beloved Saint Germain.